My mum was like, yeah, I'm going to get you a job working in a bank with me, and my dad was like, no, I'll get you a job being a mechanic with me, and I was like, fuck both of them things, they ain't happening. And so I kind of decided I had to get my shit together and knuckle down. It was just this cool thing to do. It was very much like when I started skateboarding. It was like, I started skateboarding, everyone was like, oh, you can't do that there, you can't skate here, you can't do that. And we just looked for places, abandoned places to skate. And you'd look at the architecture of the city differently. And this was the very same thing. It was like, I just want to leave this mark of be creative within this environment I've grown up within. This like really sort of can be quite miserable, quite aggressive city that is London. Self-indulgence is all it was. It's the same. It's the very same thing that when I first saw graffiti, it was like, I really like this indulgent act. What I could see is getting to the sort of point of being 40, 45, 50, and just being like made redundant and being sort of ejected from the design industry, and that's it, you're out. And I was like, I don't want that path for me in my life. And I'd never taken authority particularly well, so I didn't like people saying, this is how it's got to look, this is what it's got to be like. So I suddenly realised that the creative industry that I'd worked so hard to get a job in was 90% of the time very uncreative and relatively boring, and felt massively disheartened, having worked fucking hard for a long time, to suddenly have this job where I was like, didn't look forward to going in the mornings, worked stupidly long hours for little reward, and to see good ideas watered and diluted down pretty much all the way through. So it kind of drove me, because I suddenly had all this access to all this equipment, like photocopiers, black and white colour printers, marker pens, everything was all there, you know, stuff that I didn't have the money to buy. I just started drawing, you know, started drawing characters as like this idle fascination of mine, just to sort of some sort of creative release. I mean, there was no phrases coined for it, there were no books documenting it, there was no super celebrities doing it, there wasn't the scene of people that were interested in buying it. If you'd have said to me like back then that that's what the way it was going to be, I'd have laughed. I'd have been like, no way, you know, it was just so far off from it wasn't even in my mind that would be the case. It just didn't seem possible. There is a sort of the next generation, the second generation have been inspired by, but there's a definite thought amongst people, younger people, that this is how you do it, that there's this method and medium, a way and a route and a path. If it looks inwardly, then that's when it becomes dangerous, because it ends up just sort of regurgitating itself, and it's better if people start looking at different directions that art or craft or design have taken, and can take their work within the street environment, within that context. I like the idea that it was something that it sort of fell into itself, and the artist fell upon doing it. Nobody set out to begin doing it, to go on this path knowing where it was going to take them, because there was nothing at the end of it. It was done for the right reasons, from the passion for the heart. And I think if people look at it and think, oh, I can live as an artist, I can make loads of money, I can be famous, then you're doing it straight away doing it for the wrong reasons. It's cool that people think they can live from doing it. I'd like to see more stuff in the street. And that's what keeps it interesting when I walk around the cities. You know, we walk around with our necks cranked all the time, looking for like good spots, who's done rooftops, or who's done a good stick, or who's got the best hand style. Yeah, it keeps it fresh for me. And I've seen a lot of people come into it, do some cool stuff, and try and do it quite avidly, and then realise after a year that it takes longer than a year, and then after 2 years they've given up and they've become a DJ. Or whatever, they become a fucking inline skater, or whatever they think is the next thing that's going to be cool they can be into. The point of doing stuff in the street is that it's free to anybody to do. You know, it just takes you to go out and do it. You know, if people say, "Oh, I wish I did street art," it's like, well, go and do it. You know, what's stopping you? There's nothing stopping you.